All right, welcome everyone. This is Jennifer Sanchez. We are live on Facebook. So, briefly, I want to make sure that we are actually on, and we have our special guest today that we are super excited for. And Christina, of course, our awesome monthly, this month's co host. So, wanted to definitely welcome everyone. I am the founder of the Women's Institute of Self Development and Efficacy. The reason why we do this show is just to have some conversation, inspiration, and motivation, right? Like that's the whole, I'm calling it ICM. So this is your daily dose of ICM, and we like to highlight women from our community. So Christina's a strong member of the community. Ellie is also part of the community, and we just want to talk and highlight everyone here and have some inspiring conversations and open our mindset to opportunities and options. So, the Women's Institute of Self Development is an organization that focuses on self development, health and wellness, and spirituality. We offer a whole bunch of different services. So, make sure that at the end you check us out on our Facebook page and website. So, welcome, Christina. Go for it. Introduce yourself. Do your thing, girlfriend.
Hi there, everybody. So happy to be here again this Monday morning. I hope everyone is just enjoying the sun that comes through because I know that, our summers are short and I know the heat is crazy, but I'd rather see the sun come up when I wake up in the morning than those gray clouds. So my name is Cristina Coreas. I am a CPS employee, so I'm a reading interventionist. I am a mother. I am involved in the WISE community. I help my daughter with her ongoing business right now that she's got. She's got a business called Brave Girl Bracelets, and we are working on that to make donations to people in need. So I got a future little entrepreneur in my hands, and I'm just excited for today.
Oh, there she is. That's our mini co-host.
She heard her name.
Mila. Thank you, Christina. And then, of course, we have Ellie. So, Ellie, please introduce yourself and share a little bit about yourself to our viewers.
Yes, absolutely. I am Ellie, founder and owner of Ellie Events Unlimited. And we are an event company based in Chicago, but we have offices in Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic. We have offices in Texas, in Florida, in Spain, and we also have North Florida and South Florida.
Wow.
And so those are people that are local. We really pride ourselves that we stay local in every community. So if you have an event planner and you're doing a destination wedding, you're like, oh, I have to travel to that destination at least 5 or 6 times to get all my bearings right, to make sure that everything is okay. We have people who actually live there and who want to do this on the side so that they're never going to they're never going to become event planners themselves, but they enjoy it. And so they're local people that the company has hired, and we go to local businesses, local florists, local DJs, those kind of things, and we bring money back into the community in every community that we use.
Wow.
So that's the destination portion, and then we do quinceañeras, and we plan it all the way through. We plan weddings all the way through 12 months. Quinceañeras are usually 7-8 months. And we do proposals. So the other day, a man wanted to propose to his girlfriend, and we took a blanket and flowers and champagne and pillows and balloons with "Marry Me," and we put it right in front of, between the grassy area between the conservatory and the zoo, the Lincoln Park Zoo, and we had the background of the skyline. and he proposed there in front of everybody. He had his mini audience,
Oh, that's so
That's awesome.
cute.
and it was really cute. It was really cute. So we do things like that, and then we do corporate events, and we plan. And we manage two different properties. We manage a property on Irving Park and in Portage Park, and then we manage SRBCC, so Segundo Ruiz Belvis Cultural Center.
Wow. Do
That's
you got someone in Mexico? We
No,
we need to connect you with someone out there. Everyone's trying to get married over there. I could think of 5 people already trying to get married
oh
over
my God, no, we don't have a connection in Mexico, but we can make it happen. We make anything happen.
we're
awesome.
gonna make it happen. So if any of our viewers know someone in Mexico that wants to get into event planning, connect with Ellie because we know people. I think one of our members in our community is having a destination wedding out in Mexico in October. So we're aware of those. A couple of people did that already. So thank you, Ellie, for joining and sharing what you do. That is awesome what you're doing out there. We do have viewers. So, viewers, you guys can chat with us and we will bring your comments on live, which is what's awesome about this platform. So, I know we got Yamilet. She said, "Good morning, ladies." We have Alexandra. She
Morning.
said, "Hi." We have
Morning.
Mary. She said, "Morning." And we have, they all of them are saying this is awesome what you do, Ellie. So this is awesome also. So go for it, Christina. I know we got to talk about something else next.
Yes. So, ladies, what are we drinking this morning? I personally, we've had this conversation last week. I do not drink coffee. It makes me jittery. I can do decaf, and I was really happy that last week Demita was talking about her decaf drinking as well. So I'm glad I'm not alone. But
Hey.
today I am drinking some tea. So chamomile tea just to, be calm this morning. Ellie, what are you drinking this morning?
I am drinking café con leche with Bustelo coffee.
There's a reason why we're cracking up right now, ladies. So you will get it in a moment. We have also Amel. She said, "Good morning,
Good
ladies."
morning, Amel.
She says she's drinking good old ginger tea with cinnamon. She's another big tea drinker
Ooh.
that I know. And then we have Yamela saying, "I'm finishing up on my protein shake." Awesome. That's good stuff. So let us know what you're drinking. As you know, we drink amazing coffee here from our sponsor, Jackie Camacho Ruiz from Living the Amazing, and we'll make sure we share the link there. But I'm drinking coffee right now. We love the Café de Olla. I know it's a big Latin American drink. If you love cinnamon and brown sugar, that is our go-to. And I used to love it with animal crackers. I don't know if you guys ever had coffee with animal crackers. No, that was the stuff, especially especially when growing up in Mexico. That's how my grandma gave it to me. So I'd sit there with my little spoon, drinking my little coffee de olla with my little animal crackers. And I think it's just something that I think the kids do it a lot out there. Like, I'm assuming in other Latin American countries they do it too. I'm assuming, right? I only can speak for Mexico at this point because that's the only time I did it. But we have also, Mary said, "I tried Bustelo and I thought I was going to grow hair hair on my chest." You know what? I never tried Bustelo. I'll be so honest. I'm just being transparent. I know a lot of people love Bustelo, but I've never had it. So now I'm like intrigued to I want to kind of try it because everyone talks about it, Bustelo. But so, we have Yamala. She said,
It
"Oh,
is super strong. It is like super strong.
it's very strong."
But if it's the one coffee that I don't need another coffee during the day. So I can take this coffee in the morning and then I don't find myself like at 2:30 in the afternoon unless I just have a taste for coffee that I need to go somewhere. If I drink, I'm also a big fan of McDonald's coffee and just a little like tidbit there, McDonald's actually has double filtered water, so their coffee and their Coca-Cola taste a lot different than every other place. Because their water is so filtered, so clean, and so pure that when they get coffee, when they do the coffee is just spot on.
Yep.
But it's not as strong as Bustelo, and I end up having to get another cup at like around 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, you're right. On the McDonald's, I totally get that. We have a mouse at Bustelo. It's super strong. I can't do regular Bustelo. That I do decaf. She even said Bustelo is Carmen strong. Then we have Yamala. She said, nope, I have never heard of animal cracker. So over here, people are having conversations with each other in the comments section. Elsa said con galletas Marias. Yes, I've had it with coffee with galletas Maria. That's a good one too.
Oh, I like those cookies.
Yeah, those are some good cookies too. So keep sharing what you guys drink this morning, and we welcome you, right? This is all about conversation and inspiration. So enjoy the conversation, ladies, because I think today's going to be one of those hot ones. So especially for our Latino community, I just had to I said, Christina, we got to talk about this because it's just too much going on to not talk about it, right? So, Yamila said, "Oh my God, I love those cookies." So we're in agreement. Those are some good cookies. So. And actually, to go with Ellie, I agree. McDonald's coffee is one of those coffees that you don't taste in other places. I had no clue about the purified water, Ellie. So, oops, I think we lost Christina real quick. We'll keep talking. So, I just wanted to make sure that people know that, for us, especially for me, like if you drink coffee and you drink it black, that's how usually I drink my coffee. You learn what real coffee tastes like when it's black. You'll know what's real bitter, what's not good, what's been in that pot for a little too long. Ooh, right? You go to those breakfast places and they think that they haven't had a fresh pot of coffee, or they're trying to play you and make you think like it's a fresh pot of coffee. Like, no, this has been sitting here for a while because I could taste the bitterness.
Yeah.
And I've shared this before. Like, I don't know for those that like to travel and drive, why can't take road trips. I love getting coffee at gas stations. I don't know why. I don't know if there's something different in some of these gas stations, but for some reason I feel like the coffee's better at some gas stations.
Like from their pot or like from their machines?
Maybe the machines. Maybe that's what it is.
There was this one coffee that came out and it's so bad, but oh my God, I was like addicted. And I remember buying like 3 cups just to last me like the whole day because I could not go back to that gas station. It was right next to my house and I was on my way to work. But like, I'm in love with pumpkin. I eat everything pumpkin. Everybody knows that I love pumpkin. And it was during the fall time and they had pumpkin like pumpkin mocha, so like pumpkin mixed with chocolate or something. The weirdest thing, but it was just powder. It's just powder out of the machine. So imagine, like, I was like, oh my God, I'm in love with this coffee and it's not even real coffee. So
oh, wow. Yeah. No, I get where you're coming from. And now I learned something new about you. You love pumpkin coffee.
I do. I love pumpkin everything, like everything pumpkin, like pumpkin butter, like pumpkin everything.
Oh, you're the pumpkin. You're one of those, right? When fall comes, you love pumpkin pie. That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I could work with you. Some stuff I'm like, you guys, like, I thought there was something bizarre that they were doing. Was it pumpkin meat or something this past fall? It was really like, that's not a common thing to eat with pumpkin. I don't know if it was like a meat or something, but I was like, I don't know if you guys know that. It's okay. And I was like, that's a little beyond, but I love that you love pumpkin. I do love pumpkin too, so that's awesome. So let's go into the topic. So here, we gotta make this disclaimer before we start talking about this topic, right? Like, you guys, this is this is a conversation that's just us having a conversation as we if we were in a restaurant, if it was girl time, right? It's not a conversation where we're trying to inspire any hatred or discord or and we value and respect everyone's opinion. Um like Christina might have a total different outlook or Ellie than what I would. And right, we have to understand that we all grew up differently. We were all exposed differently. Maybe we've been researching a little too deep into some things, right? Uh, just want to make that disclaimer that if you share your opinion, we totally respect it. And we want you to be transparent and be bold with what your true beliefs are. We're about being authentic in this community, and I want us to be genuine in our conversation, but I think this is an important conversation to have, especially in the Hispanic community. So for my non-Hispanic friends, bear with us. Bear with us. So you guys know I was going to talk about that. So
There
Goya,
it is.
Goya, no Goya, right? So I guess the best way to start is for those that are watching and trying to comment, go for it and just start putting out there what your thoughts are on this Goya. Are you after, and Christina probably can share what exactly happened. I just want to know, are you still for Goya or you're like, I'm done with Goya? Christina, can you share a little bit about the situation so that those that are not aware of Goya are up to date?
Sure. So basically, what is going on is that President Trump invited the CEO of Goya the main guy, to come to a presentation that they were having, an address that they were trying to sign, that basically is saying that is there kickback? I'm sorry, I can hear myself. Can you hear me? Am I echoing?
I did hear myself when I speak, but we can't hear it from you.
Okay. Sorry, I just got distracted by my own voice. Anyway, I apologize. So basically, what was happening is that he was presenting an address that he wants better education and better business for the Hispanic community. And so then this, what's his name? I forgot his name already.
Oh gosh, he has a unique last name. And if any of the followers already know, just pop it in there and
Unanu, something. Okay. Robert Unanu is the guy's name. And so he went in there and gave a presentation and said basically that President Trump was a blessing to America and that he was a builder. So a lot of people, as soon as they heard that this man who is of Spanish descent was supporting Trump, they started saying boycott Goya. And so that was everywhere. Even I think the guy from Hamilton, I forgot what his name is too, but he also was like, no, boycott it. No, don't buy Goya. And so here we are with this conversation, Goya or no Goya. Do we, as Latino Americans or Hispanic Americans, support Goya now that we know that he is a Trump supporter?
Yeah, and this is one of those sensitive topics. Like I could say right now, Yamalette, she's like, we can't cancel everything out if we don't agree with people's opinion. We have the freedom of speech and decision on who we support. That is totally, respectable. We understand it. And, I think it's important to kind of address it. And really, the reason why I thought, let's bring this to the table was Black Lives Matter happened, right? Well, the thing with George Floyd happened, and we've been very transparent about what's going on with the racism, right? Colorism. And then something like this happens, and then we see this separation. Either you're for Goya or you're against Goya in the Latino community, where, then we see even like other cultures that are not Hispanic were throwing out like Aunt Jemima products, right? They were like, I'm throwing this out, in support of Black Lives Matter movement. So I'm not saying I'm for or against right now. I'm just painting the picture of why we brought this to the forefront, because I think that is the issue that no, I don't want to get rid of my Goya products because I like to throw down and cook in the kitchen with my Goya, right? Is that what it is, right? Or is it that we don't take the situation of his comment? And of course, he can praise the president. And I think I read an article where he said, if it was Barack Obama, I would have said the same thing.
No.
Where it's an issue is that we know that Trump has all these racist tones. He's been very blunt to the Latino community. He's called us rapists, thieves. He just said he was going to sell Puerto Rico. Just putting that out there. And no one's taking him up on the offer, but I saw it yesterday on the news, right? He let 3,000 Puerto Ricans die on the island, right? We remember that episode, right? And even just building the wall and saying that Mexico is going to build the wall. All right. So right there and then, right? I mean, that in itself, that's a lot of undertones. And then, of course, we have what he was trying to do with his last rally. Where was his rally at? It was at that. I already forgot the name of the rally, but we know that it was a location where they massacred a lot of African Americans, right? Like he obviously does a lot of things very strategic and with a lot of racial undertones, right? So I think the issue was when this Goya president said, you're a blessing to America, and then knowing that there's still kids in cages and knowing all this stuff is going on and he's part of the problem, let's just be honest, because now bigots are coming out like there's no tomorrow. People are more bold in their racial tones. That was the issue. And that's what kind of stemmed the boycotting, right? We actually have a couple of comments here already. Yamalet said, also, if we boycott, we're not thinking of the families that will be affected on this decision. Absolutely correct. Cristina, we were talking about this offline.
Yeah, I was totally I'm in agreement with Yamilet. So I don't stand for bigotry. I don't stand for inequality, injustice. But I do know that there are so many people that would be impacted by boycotting this business, right? There's a lot of even countries that have the Goya factories in them and employ these people. This is how they make a living. So although I do not agree with what the inequalities and everything that Trump stands for, like Yamila had said as well, it is his political view. It's his opinion. And for me personally, I just think about the people. Who are the people that are going to be impacted by this boycott? A lot of our Latino Americans, I mean, we already, they struggle with finding job opportunities because they don't have the education, right? And so they need these jobs. They rely on these jobs. So we wouldn't just be impacting this man, Robert Unanu. We would be impacting millions, I don't know how many, thousands of lives of people who work for this company.
Yeah. And I wanted, Ellie, I'm going to share real quick just some comments here. And then, Ellie, we want to know your opinion. So I have someone here said, I never use Goya. It's Elsa. I have always used the small business products or make my own spicy. I like that. But I respect anyone who will continue to use Goya or not. There are bigger issues than Sazon in this country. There's babies still in cages. And I think, Elsa, yes, definitely. I think there's that's the issue here. But I think it almost feels like to some Latinos, it's a slap in the face to say that you've blessed this community, you've blessed America, but there's still these issues prevalent, right? I don't think it's the spice itself that is the issue. Like It's not the spice itself, but I understand, definitely agree that everyone has a right to their opinion. Amel said I don't agree with his comment at all. He could have said thank you for having me here, not say Trump was a great leader. Yeah, I totally think that if he would have carefully crafted his speech,
Wording.
maybe the wording, it would have made a big difference with what's going on. Yeah, Millet. She said if anyone wants to get rid of their Goya products, I can accept donations. uh, you know, yeah, I'm gonna keep going with the next comment. I was about to say something. So Elsa, I see so much coming in. Most likely are immigrants working in those families, Goya locations. It's
Yeah.
probably people from those third world countries. Although I just want to make that comment, they're making less than $1. I'm just saying, right? You know that Goya ain't paying money, right? That's why they call them sweatshops. That's why they make them work long hours. That's why they keep Latin American countries in poverty because of the way that they pay. Just putting that out there. But Ellie, go for what are your thoughts on all of this? Especially since you do a lot of event planning. This is something where you kind of get affected with this because you travel in Goya and you might use that product for things. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
I we were sharing offline that I am very very family orientated. My business is really wrapped around and I don't work as a corporation or I don't work like a corporate American company. Um Although I hope I head that way, right, in the future, like with the money and everything. Um but I don't work like that. I stay local. I work with my local people in the area that I'm at. I use local vendors. I make sure that my brides use them or know about them and know where they come from. When I do, I always try to use his Latino products. So Bustelo, I now I have to go check, but I'm almost positive that Bustelo is Goya.
And that's why we were talking. Why
That,
Ellie was like, I don't know if I want to share this on here, right?
right. Right. So when we were laughing earlier, audience, it was because of that. It was because I was a little embarrassed. I am. I want to support my Latino community, right? I want to be there for everybody. But it's very true. In the end, like, we have to know that this guy who went to the White House, he is never going to get affected by anybody boycotting. He will not lose his job.
No.
He will not get a pay cut. He will not It will be the first people that go down are the people that are the people that we're trying to save, right? Like the people
Mhm.
that we're trying to have their backs. And they're the people that are going to lose. So when you say don't support boycott, I mean, don't look at me. Don't support Goya, you're really going sort of against all of the other people that are going to get affected by it. And people really have to sit down and understand that. Like, Foot Locker didn't lose out on anything when you went in there and took like 10,000 shoes or whatever you took the day of Black Lives Matter. They
Yeah.
didn't get affected. You know who got affected? The
Us.
mop boy that had to mop all that stuff, that had to clean all those windows, that had to do all those things. Like, that's who gets affected.
And we're gonna
You
get
know,
affected too. At the end of the day, that's gonna come in our taxes. All
absolutely, absolutely. And
the
you
stress.
know who who fixes those windows? Like, who fixes those things? People have to understand and really think before they talk, because it
Yes,
really affects the lower people.
I agree.
When
Yeah.
COVID hit, like, I worked for corporate America for 9 years with the Hilton. I tend to like just stay in one place normally. So I was there for 9 years and then opened up Ellie Events. And who when COVID hit, who's the first people that go down? The manager of of each hotel is still there. The All the directors, they still got their job.
Yeah.
Who's the first people that go? Who's
Hmm.
the first people that get unemployment or
Hmm.
don't, for that matter? And then that brings me to my other thing. Like, when you're talking about the products and you're now throwing them away, how many people right now are going to food pantries that you don't even know of? You don't know that these people are going to food pantries because of like, their situation. Nobody is saying these things. Nobody is saying like, hey, I'm a business owner and, I don't do this or that, or I don't get this service, and yet I have to go to wherever to get my food. You don't know the situation that people have. Um, and so you're now throwing away all these products, and then instead of throwing them away and they're going into the ground, because that's where all of our trash goes, by the way, donate them to the food pantry.
Yeah.
Because okay, fine, we're not gonna buy products no more, right? Everybody's they're gonna get affected, but don't throw you the food away because it's still good. Give it
Mhm.
away. And
Mhm.
then, so then if you want to go there, but then let's go, is it really healthy? I was very intrigued by a post I had on Facebook that said, make your own sazon. Because if you look at the package, it's so chemically involved. That is that stuff even good for you? Let's just then be healthy. How about if you just choose be right, be fair, and be for humanity, and then be healthy? If you
Mm.
do all of that, I think we're headed in the right direction, and Trump could go the other way by himself.
Mm. Yeah, and I think, and there was something, and I liked what you're sharing. I love the points. They're all very valid points. Something to think about as a community, right? And especially for the Hispanic community. I think I see comments and people having side convos here, which is great. That's what we want. That's what we want. We want to inspire thought, right? And we want to bring to the attention, like, it was a Hispanic executive order that they were trying to put in place, right? There was something that they were trying to do for the business community. Well, I mean, yes, that's great. And I guess for us, at least for me, I can speak on my behalf. You can talk the talk, but I want to see you walk the walk, right? First, I want to see the proof, right? I always say this. I want to see the proof in the pudding before you tell me you're going to do something. Because coincidentally, we're 100 days away from this re-election. And all of a sudden, you
Right.
want to talk about, let me help the Hispanic community.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know about all that, right?
But yet you're throwing um paper towels at people in Puerto Rico when they need a lot more than a freaking roll of paper towels. And we're sitting here like saying, "Yeah, give it to me." And it's a damn paper towel. Go get a freaking towel. Like,
Has Puerto Rico been fully restored? From my understanding, they haven't been fully restored from everything that has
Yeah.
happened. There's places that still are struggling. If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong.
no, the island itself was struggling for a very long time and has been struggling, right? So any phenomenon that happens, any earthquakes that are still happening, the earthquakes are very much still happening and very active. Um, the town Ponce is completely like destroyed. Um, there are so many things like historic landmarks that we could never visit again. I when the hurricane came through, Hurricane Maria, right? Maria. Now I
Yeah.
question my
Yeah.
every thought.
That's right,
Um,
Maria.
the rainforest, which is like the place that everybody visits, and everybody is, was completely in some parts like just destroyed. Roads. I cried when I saw the pictures because my kids like could not experience the things that I experienced there, the joys and the pictures and all that kind of stuff. Yes, I mean now it's things grow, right? Trees grow, things, plants come back up and they come alive. That takes time. So yeah, will it go back to normal? I mean, that's just Mother Nature doing its thing. But Puerto Rico really, really honestly has to get on the ball of like eco-friendly, like really, because if we continue to just rebuild and rebuild buildings, that there's another hurricane that's gonna come. I mean, we're a freaking island. Like another hurricane is gonna come, another tornado is gonna come. We're genius human society that definitely can make something happen and become eco-friendly and build something strong enough where we're safe and we're gonna make it through, because
Yeah.
the reality is that where we live, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I mean, it's not completely restored. The from the hurricane, things were bad, and then now the earthquakes, and the earthquakes
Mm.
haven't stopped. So
Mm. Okay. No, thank you for sharing because I wasn't sure, so I just wanted to get a little bit of some information on that. And I think that's why this topic, I think it's not really about the product, right? It's not about and I know people are like, I'm never getting rid of my Goya product. And I'll be honest with you, like yesterday I was making something, I realized it was Goya black beans. I was like, oh, wait. And my husband's like, that's Goya. I was like, well, I'm still gonna use it. Like I'm not throwing it out. I already paid for this thing, right? Like I'm not throwing it in the garbage. I won't, in my personal opinion, I'm not gonna buy anymore. I'm gonna look at La Preferida. I'm gonna look at Nor. There's other products from other and I think it's only because I'm expecting some sort of apology. I'm expecting some sort of media alert to go out from the Goya company, something that they and I think Christina, you have some facts, and Ellie, you might also, I think, remember where how have they contributed to the Latino
I
community,
was about
right?
to say that. Yeah, they have something, their corporate affairs, and it's called Goya Gives, right? And they basically have donated to food shelters and pantries. They also were the ones that supported Puerto Rico during the Hurricane Maria. Um, and in the response to the coronavirus pandemic, they donated over 300,000 pounds of food, about 270,000 meals to food banks and organizations, and donated more than 20,000 protective masks.
Mm,
So they are, again, I go back to thinking about like, it's his political view, and I get it. I don't support it. And I feel like what our conversation continues to revolve around is, or what I keep hearing is Trump. We're going back to Trump and his bigotry and the decisions that he's made, and how he has not supported our Latin American community or Black Lives Matter. And at the end of the day, he's the one that that we're looking at as someone who has impacted our society in a negative way.
yeah. Well, we know, and you're right. We know that it all stems back to him, and I think that's the commonality with all of this,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
If it was like, like let's think of the guys that were fired that were part of the KKK tiki things. They were the tiki men. They remember. I don't know if you guys remember that when they were walking around with little tiki torches, and then companies
Mhm.
fired them because they were like, oh, you're not part of our cult. What do they call that? What was, you guys probably know. I'm already like, I can't think of the word, like, we don't agree with that culture. There's a wording for that. Somebody help me out here. Um, you know,
Wait, say
so right when someone fires you, is you're not in. Who are my HR people? Uh,
compliance.
you're not not compliance, but like when basically you're saying you're not we're not in agreement. You don't go with our workflow or our
work
views. They're
ethic,
not aligned. Our views are
work
not aligned. There's
work
a.
ethic,
It'll come to
or
me.
their work values? No.
It'll
Okay.
come to me. It'll come to me. But does that make sense, right? They were in KKK rallies not too long, maybe like 2, 3 years ago, and they had the little tiki torches and they showed their face. And then when companies saw their faces and they realized, oh my God, that's Steve from our job, they got fired,
Yeah.
right? So because again, they're not in agreement with that lifestyle. So I guess there's got to be this fine line. It is a fine line. There is a fine line, right? It's like, so why did Steve get fired when he was part of those tiki torches, right? And
Mhm.
like, and he was part of the KKK, and the company said we don't want to associate ourselves with you,
I
and
see.
you get what I'm saying. But then at the same time,
Here's
we're
this big
here.
shot. And here's this big shot, and he's not getting reprimanded for what he says or his
Yeah,
comments, right? There's no reprimand for him. There will be no repercussion, like you said, Ellie. He's not going to be impacted. The people who are going to be reprimanded or impacted are the people who work for him, and the people and these companies, again, they're in Puerto Rico, they're in Dominican Republic, They're here in the United States, and I think maybe Spain. I'm not sure, but yeah, those people are going to be impacted, and we just have
And
to take that into consideration too.
yeah. And so how are we going to hold him accountable for this comment, right? Like, how are we going to hold him accountable? Like, okay, I'm sure you guys golf together at this point, right? Like, I'm sure you use our taxes and get on those nice planes and go golfing with the president. Like, at this point, I'm thinking there's got to be some sort of like actual relationship, which again, I mean, unfortunately, sometimes we have to coexist with people that we might not have the same, like maybe he's not racist, right? And maybe, they have to work with each other there. They got to be colleagues. But then at the same time, like, where is that line as a Latino, right? Like, and I'm not going to go into like more detail. Like, I always want to see my Latino community thrive. Like, why would I associate myself with someone that's so against
Yeah.
the community that I strive for so hard? Like, and that's the authenticity, that transparency, that authenticity. That's where we're seeing it. We're seeing, like, we're calling you out, like, yo, bro, like, I think that's what's happening, right? Luis Gutierrez, we know, former congressman. I think I tagged Cristina on it. He was the one that was also calling for the boycott. He Puerto Rican, right? He's Puerto Rican. And what I love about him is that he has done more for the Mexican community than most Mexican politicians. I'm just saying this flat out. And I might be wrong, but I believe his daughters are half Puerto Rican, or there's a quarter Mexican there. There's either his wife is part Mexican. There's something in there in his marriage, I believe. But I mean, he's done so much for the Mexican community, more so than others. So when he's like, I'm boycotting this, he got arrested when ISIS started targeting Mexican undocumented people, right? He was the first to go to the ISIS office with other politicians and start calling them out, like, yo, you can't be doing this to these people. You can't be arresting. You can't be separating families. He got arrested and locked up for that. Like, that to me speaks volumes of how he cares about his community, right?
And I think it comes back to what you had mentioned when we were off air, Jennifer. Because I was like, oh, this is so political, right? What you had mentioned kind of made me think, well, good point. Maybe we should bring stuff up like this, because you had said that when Black Lives Matter, they boycotted Aunt Jemima, and they were boycotting so many different other companies, and they were being proactive, right? And I think the underlying thing or theme, or why this is so important to bring up as well, is just that our Hispanic community, our Latin American community, needs to be more proactive in matters that impact us socially and economically. Period. We need to have a voice. You see Black Lives Matter, they're out there, they're doing their thing, they have organized protests, and anytime something happens with their people, they're ready to voice their opinion. Where are we? Where are we? And I think that is one of the things that we need to start doing, is speaking up as Latin Americans and Hispanics. We need to use our voice, and we need to use it for those that do not have a voice, like those kids in cages, like these immigrant workers who are going to farms that are being sent, or being called on. And I have some information on that too. I think I had sent you an article, Jennifer, about these immigrant workers who came from Mexico, and they were working on the fields and were not getting paid. They were promised, they got like 2 or 3 paychecks. I don't know how many paychecks they ended up getting. And then every time that they would go to cash another check, the check would bounce. And at the end of the day, they had to, they were tricked into saying that, oh, we're going to take you to Walmart and we're going to, so you guys can go shopping and do your things. What did they do? That company took those workers that worked so hard and sent them and reported them and sent them right back. They got deported right back to Mexico.
That's terrible.
They got paid, they worked hundreds of hours and were not paid. That's that's injustice.
Absolutely.
And you don't see that. Where's that article being publicized? I saw it. It's not being blown up. These other things, right? Where are we? Why are we not speaking up about these matters? And we need to bring these to light and fight for our people. Fight for those kids who have been in cages and being treated basically worse than animals because they're like in soiled clothing and not getting, they sleep on the floor and they're huddled, with one another. Like, what is that?
Yeah, that's terrible.
Those are the things that I get so irate about, and we really just need to speak up. Period.
Yep. You're right, Christina. And I want to share comments. We have Elsa. She said, all of the famous people coming out and giving their opinion about Goya, pero what about the bigger issues in our country, PR, Mexico, etc., or in the U.S.? And I think, Elsa, this is all still interconnected. And, yes, Goya, we're not just talking like about spices. There's like a deeper rooted issue here. And that's why Goya is like the NFL when Kaepernick was taking a stand and taking a knee, right? He made it real clear, lost his job, right? He's no longer available to work for the NFL, but there's a lot of famous people that they said they're not going to perform, like celebrities decided not to perform for the NFL anymore or be associated with them because of Kaepernick and his stand. And that's the thing, like the Black community, I give them props because they stand up, they organize, no, you ain't gonna treat us like that. I don't care. Like, I think there was a list that I sent you, Christina, on the companies that, that Black Lives Matter put on their list. Black Lives Matter put Goya on their list. Black Lives Matter put Goya on their list, right? That speaks volumes on that in itself. So I'm also going to share there's a scene in Hamilton where he is talking about standing up to England to Aaron Burr. Aaron tells him to talk less and smile more so that he can stay alive. Hamilton's response was, if you stand for nothing, oh, I just lost it. If you stand for nothing, what will you stand? What will you fall for? Which is true, right? That's a good point. We have another one. He really helped a lot of dreamers when DACA came out. Mis respetos para ese hombre. And I know that DACA is being taken away at this point, right? And I know Dreamers started through, and someone might correct me if I'm wrong. He started actually. It was one of the initiatives through President Barack Obama was when DACA was really put out there. So DACA and Dreamers was that was stemmed through Barack and what is that representative's name? I know he's here in Illinois. Dick Durbin. Dick Durbin is one of those that was taking the lead in DACA. When he's part of the Democratic Party, but I just wanted to put that out there. Si son muy unidos, and yes, you are right. So I think there's a lot of conversation. I don't know, Ali, if you guys wanted to share any more, any thoughts as we're having this conversation. And it almost seems like Goya's taking over the conversation because we wanted to talk about homeschooling
So much more,
because maybe it's a conversation we have to have more in homeschooling next week. We'll talk a little bit about now, but I think it's gone to work. Like, it's not about the spice. It has nothing to do with the damn spice. Like, we can make our own damn spice, right? If he said an apology or said something, maybe that would help a lot with the issue. But the whole point is,
would it?
I don't know. Would it?
I was gonna say that too. Like, first of all, would it even matter? Like, what?
You already
what
said
does it matter that someone apologizes? Because the truth of the matter is, like, okay, let's just take it to the most basic, right? We have kids, right? So if we make our kid apologize for something,
That's a good
is
point.
it really right that we make our kids apologize? I don't make my kid apologize ever. I tell them, listen, your actions were wrong, and this is why they were wrong. And if you
Yeah.
don't believe that they are wrong, when you believe that they are right, you have to justify yourself. And then every action comes with a consequence, right? Whether it's good or bad. So do we really want him to apologize if that's his really real opinion? And if that's his real opinion, that is fine, right? Because we all have we all have the time to speak, right? In life. We all have the ability. We live in a country where we can all speak what we believe. But then that's it. Like we
There's
that's his opinion and we move forward with it.
Ellie, you said a good point. There's consequences though. You're gonna say it. You're gonna stand. Whatever I say is always gonna have a consequence. Whatever you say, Christina
Mhm.
says, especially if you're a public figure and you have that much prestigiousness, right? You have that much power, or obviously you're a man of influence, right? You say things like that very loosely. Oh, I apologize, ladies. If you say things like that very loosely, it's gonna come and bite you in the butt, right? So you hit it. You hit it on the head. There's gonna be consequences for saying things like this. And yeah, Goya is a very loved product in our Hispanic community. But like Christina was saying earlier, are we taking a stand and making it clear like we don't accept racism, we don't accept bigotry, we don't accept the kids in the cages? Like those guys that were in tiki torches, they got fired from their companies when they were representing they were representing something that was not part of that company's culture, right? It's like, are we gonna stand for that? And that was the only reason why I wanted to have this conversation. And at the end of the day, people can keep their products or not. It's what you believe in, but it's something that we need to definitely talk about.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, it has to go down to the most basic. Like everybody can have their own opinion, everybody can share their own opinion. But when I'm gonna be your friend, right, and I'm gonna be the person that I chill with and spend my energy with and my time with, we have to be sort of on the same accord because we're going to the same place,
Right.
right? We have to have the same goals, and similar goals. Like we're all professional women. We're all, Jennifer, and I and Christina, your daughter, right, are entrepreneurs. So like we have the same goal of being successful, right? Of being powerful women in the community, right? So then we can be on accord on the same path, right? To help and lift each other up. But if this guy and President Trump are friends and yet you're still here like running your company or running the company with all this community stuff, but then you're playing golf with someone who's like taking people and putting them in cages, like how can you even be on the same accord with someone like that? Like, how can you even be a friend of someone? Be real, be authentic. If you're going to be my friend, then we're going to stand for the same thing and we're going to move forward. Now, granted, there are some things that we're not going to like about each other, right? There are some things um, that we're not going to agree on. But it has to be a larger percentage that we are seeing the same views and we're moving forward. I'm a huge Jesus lover, right? Like huge. I really love God. I really do all the things like pray religiously, like everything. I'm sorry, I've tried it before. I can't be someone's friend with that's an atheist because everything I do is engulfed with God, and I'm gonna continue everything that I say. I give examples. I'm not like, I don't say Bible verses like just randomly, like the, I don't know, Jesus cried or whatever. I don't even know any real Bible. I do, but I just got stuck. But um, like I don't like sit there and lay hands over somebody right away in the middle of the mall. Like I'm not like that, right? But like if everything I do is based on a foundation of God, how can I be your friend and you don't believe in that? Like we're gonna constantly butt heads. Do I still love you? Do I still respect you? Yes, you're human and you deserve respect no matter what you believe. but I'm not going to be on your same accord, and I'm not going to be your friend because we're going to constantly butt heads. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, he can have his opinion. He doesn't even need to apologize. But then don't be friends. Don't be fake. Don't do one thing for the community and then be friends with somebody who puts us in cages. Like,
And
that's so wrong.
And
Yeah.
I think it's because, again, like we said, I don't know if we mentioned this here or offline, but he's not going to bite the hand that feeds him. Period.
He's not. Yeah, and you're right. Birds of a feather flock together, right? I just want to put that out there, Cristina. But yeah, keep going. What you were saying about the
So he's not going to do that. But at the same time, Ellie, you bring up some valuable points, and I think that people who are in power, like this Robert Unanu Goya person, he's a Latino. He's Hispanic, or I don't know. Wait, he's from Spain, so is he Latin then? He's Latino.
Yeah. He's
So,
Latino.
wait, no, he's Hispanic because Latin is Latin America.
Right.
Hispanic is from Spain.
Yeah. So basically, someone like him who has that authority, who has that power, the person who's in power or who's in the limelight needs to represent then his people. Don't forget where you came from, or don't forget where your people are.
He's from Spain,
right?
He's from Spain, though? Is that accurate?
He's from Spain, and then his family migrated to Puerto Rico. Something like that.
Oh, so he's basically, we could say he's probably Puerto Rican.
I mean, and if he isn't, he grew up
in Puerto Rico.
He grew up there, and the people who work for you are
I get
Latinos and Hispanics.
You're right.
Yeah, Trump is in power just like you, and there's probably some type of kickbacks, or I don't know, but don't forget the people who are making it happen for you and your family. Yeah. The people who are supporting you. And so that's the thing that we need to do as people who are in power, or people who are business and media and all that stuff. We need to speak up.
Yeah, I agree.
And be careful with your words, because what you said was not okay. You could have, like you said, like we mentioned before, been a little more politically correct about his wording in choosing his words.
I agree. I want to share Jacqueline Porter. She said, you can demand that he is removed from his position, which it's true, right? Just because you have a board of directors, and just because, he's a CEO, that doesn't mean that he is not, what's that word? He can get taken off of his position if he doesn't align again with that culture. There we go. He's not aligning with the culture, right? Like, if you're for Goya and you're for the Hispanic community, maybe this is what needs to be done, demanding that he be removed from that position, right? We got to put pressure on those. And I think you said it earlier, Cristina, like our community, the Latino community, we're big on respecting authority. We're big on going with the flow, right? Because it's just something of how we're brought up, right? Like that's just ingrained in us. Like so for us, maybe that's why we don't like to stir the pot or rock the boat, because it's part of our culture, right? But if I've said this before, I'm gonna say this again. Like, Black Lives Matter, right? And yes, their lives matter. We need to learn from how they organize and they protest and how they do things, because in our part as a Latino community, we're not doing what they do, in my opinion, right? Like, there's Goya is a perfect example. Like, you're saying the man that's a bigot is a blessing to this country. Like, come on, but again, everyone has the right to their opinion. Where we can't, but there's consequences to some of the things you say in that level. That's bottom line, right?
Absolutely. I want to applaud Jacqueline, because that's the type of stand. Like, let's just say that happens. Nobody else but him gets affected at this point. That is the solution to the problem. When you target the person and the consequences for just that person, the bottom people don't have to don't get affected, right? They still get their job. They'll get another CEO. They'll get somebody else to be in his place. There are consequences for him. Other people should not have to suffer. If we stop buying
Amen.
Goya products, it's like we're going to stop buying Goya products until he resigns, because he doesn't follow, he doesn't align with the culture of the Latino community, and we need to align ourselves united together. It is
Yes.
unless people have, I used to live in Virginia, and I don't want to make this longer than necessary, but Virginia, I think, was the very first place that like ISIS really, really hit for some reason. Because it's close to Washington D.C. I don't know, but I was I never forget the moment. We always used to drive where my house was. There was this corner, and there were at least 30, maybe 50 men a day that used to stand on that corner, and they used to go there for jobs, for any farm workers. I used to live in a community, and I used to live in Manassas, Virginia. Manassas, Virginia, right now is way different than before. It was a suburb outside of DC, the biggest city there, and then it was very close to farmland and very close to other things. So this corner was very specific for any construction workers, any farm workers, any people like that wanted to work for the day, right? 50 men. ISIS came and took them all in one whop.
Mm-hmm.
Their wives, like, didn't even know what happened to them. They were husbands and fathers. Like, do you know what would happen, like, if my husband didn't come home one night? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what would happen to my family? What would happen to, like, any other family that their husbands just didn't come home that night?
Yeah.
That's so sad. And if you
Inhumane. It's
literally,
inhumane.
like, if you sit there and go to this guy, go to the freaking cages. Look at that cage and see that little 3-year-old that doesn't have their mom or their dad anymore. Like, you have a baby, you have a kid, right? Like, that's sad as shit. That kid is crying on a consistent basis because they don't have their parents.
And they're being molested and they're being raped. And,
The trauma.
it's just, again, let's speak out to all those things that are happening, because it cannot happen anymore where we keep our mouths shut. This is that article that I was talking to you about. It was on USA Today News, right? And there was a lawsuit against these agricultural, the exploitation against these this work. I want to find the name because I want to expose them. They're 4 stars is what they're called.
Well,
and they
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. They're called 4-star, and it's a lawsuit right now against them because of the agricultural laborers that were in Michigan, right? They faced hardships, they faced exploitation, and so there's immigrant advocates that are trying to help them, but it's just they were left into really harsh conditions. 6 people in a 1-bedroom apartment, and people sleeping on the floors, and they weren't getting paid. They were supposed to be getting paid $12.75 an hour. We're not getting paid. And the reason why these people came to America was because 1 day's worth of work here is a whole week's pay in Mexico.
Wow.
Right? And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to go too far into it because I don't know if there's time, but I just...
Yeah. Well, let me share these comments, right? Because I think there's some good comments going on here. We are conditioned to respect our elders and not question their doings. People could demand his resignation, Yvonne shared. The Goya guy was just doing political posturing for the company. Remember, the Republican Party is all about protecting their money vested in interest. We need to educate and encourage our communities to be mindfully, civically engaged. I agree. agree, right? Mary said some can't, some, I'm assuming she's talking about the kids in the cages, some can't even remember their parents. Um,
Yeah.
and Yamala said, I wish I could pick up all those children. They don't deserve that, right? Community leaders are responsible to pay attention to the political propaganda that the parties use to manipulate the populace with fear mongering, to be cognizant, conscious, aware of your community, the concerns and issues that matter as a community of interest. And I think that's why, and I love that the point that Yvonne is sharing, that's why we're talking about this, right? We have to bring to, especially us as small business owners, we're Latinos, right? We're in the community, whatever you want to call it, Latinx, Hispanic, and there's so many words out there already for, there's so many things out there for us, right? Um, it's a matter of bringing awareness. Like, this is not about, oh, you're right or I'm wrong, or
Right.
this is your opinion and my opinion. Like, I'm sorry, I'm changing my tone because I just feel maybe that's how they sound. I'm just like, just like, yeah, the product is great. That's not the purpose behind it. It's about bringing awareness. Okay, what's going on here? What's the difference between us and other racial communities, right? I can make my own sazon if I gotta make my own sazon. Like, I heard these memes like, you guys are complaining you guys can't even cook. Like, that's not even the point about Goya. Like, Goya is not, like, to use those
Not
memes.
about the seasoning,
It's
people.
not about the seasoning. Like, and if you choose to continue to buy it, fine, right? But we need to let these people know that what is said is irresponsible.
Yeah.
It's not only it's irresponsible, it's hurtful to those that, like you said, the struggles that we are going through. Like, yeah, I think we just solved it. We need to just ask for this guy to step down as
Yes,
CEO.
absolutely.
Not even ask,
Absolutely.
demand,
Yes.
right? That's the solution to this problem, because it's
Yep.
not in line with our culture.
No.
Keep the dang Goya. It's
Yeah.
fine. you know it's
Mhm.
it's what he said that's the issue. And I think, as much as I would love to talk about homeschooling right now, and I think that's what we wanted to talk about, Christina, because you got the education, we could briefly just ask our viewers, let's tie up Goya. I think we've solved it, so at least brought some awareness and know what we should do as a Hispanic and Latino community. Quickly, are you guys going to, let's go into the other topic, homeschooling, right? And sending our kids back to school through this whole COVID thing. We can talk about it more in the next episode, next Monday. But are you guys planning on sending your kids to school in the fall? And I don't know, Ellie, what's your thoughts on that? Or Christina? Christina, you're a teacher. So you got a whole
Yeah.
different ball game there that you're dealing with.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, Melissa, you are going to have to add another show this week. She put LOL. Yes, we do. Yvonne said we are Hispanic Latinos. We are mixed of the divine creation. Yes, Yvonne. And then we have the president of this company literally slapped your community in the face. Yeah, that's absolutely how it feels, Jackie. And I think not only that, the fact that the Black Lives Matter movement boycotted, took Goya.
Mhm.
Not this is the kicker. They're the ones that said, I'm gonna take Goya and we're gonna put it on our boycotting list over here because they're still racist. They're still against minorities. Why the heck is the Hispanic community not doing the same thing? That's why I wanted to talk about this, right? So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for everyone that is contributing to the conversation. Again, we respect everybody's opinions and beliefs, and we love everybody that's watching. But I think this is something good that we need to talk about. So, are you guys sending your kids to school in the fall, or what's going on with that? I'm just curious. Christina, you can share what you thought. You have a daughter and you're a teacher. Where are you at on this?
I'm not sure. I don't think, for me personally, for my daughter, I could easily teach her at home, to be honest with you. I could, right? I have the knowledge and I have the capabilities of being able to do that. But if I'm talking about or thinking about other people and what they're going through, again, I have to play that devil's advocate, the other side of the card. Um, I am lucky enough to be able to, if I needed to, stay home and say, I don't have to work. My other half can support us and we would be okay. But not many people have that same luxury. They don't have that opportunity, and or they don't even have parents that care about them like that. One of the things that I was reading up on when researching and looking for information about this, and people who are homeschooling their kids, if you have that advantage and you could do it, well, more power to you, right? But the thing is that a lot of times these students are, I work for CPS, so I work with students who are in low income areas and who have parents who have to work, double shifts, and, their children are taking care of their siblings because nobody's home. The struggle is real for a lot of and again, a lot of them being our community, our Latino communities, our African American communities. They are suffering because of this. And one thing that I also read up on was the fact that social isolation is also really detrimental to our children's health. We may not see it, but suicidal ideation can result because of the fact that they're not in school. There's a rise in sexual abuse, substance abuse, physical abuse, depression. All those things also tie in. So as much as, again, I would love to say it's not a good idea because of the physical, because of COVID, there's another part of me that's like, man, but there's all these other factors that play into that we also need to take into consideration. So what can the best plan be for students, because they need the social environment. Economically, it's not really beneficial for the parents. Where do they find daycare, or how do they help? Who helps them, right, in supporting their kids through all this? And again, their emotional health, that is huge. A child cannot learn if they are not being taken care of emotionally. There is no way. Your emotional well-being has to come first, and it has to be taken care of. So if we're not supporting our families and our students and our children with that social emotional support that they need, I don't think about ABCs and 1, 2, 3s.
And I think this is good, Christina, and I think definitely next week we can go more in depth with all that topic, right? And I think it's going to be a great conversation already off the bat, just based off what we're talking about, what the benefits, and of course people can't do it, right? Like there's some people that can't do it. Ellie, what about you? Do you have small little ones?
I have an 18-year-old who is going to college and who is affected by it. She, is now in do I pay for a dorm? Do I stay home? Like, because all my classes are online, so why would I go to dorm? And then there's that, I don't want to be home anymore, right? Because I'm 18 and like I want to live on my own and be independent, but what is going to happen out there? What is going to happen in the college campus? Like nothing. I'm just going to stay in my dorm. Might as well be with my parents. So there's that. And then we have my son who is going into sophomore year of high school. And, I completely agree with the social. My daughter is social, but she can handle it like without, she can handle being independent and on her own. Where my son, he won, Prince or whatever, he won like the popularity contest, like he was Mr. like freshman, you can say it, and so he misses his friends a lot. He's blessed because we live in the neighborhood with the school, and so he kind of has seen his friends a little bit, and it's just been the little group that he has, and they live by here, so they have met together, But other than that, it's hard. It's hard. I don't know. I don't want my kids getting sick, right? I don't want to miss out on my kids' lives because they get COVID, and I don't want to be going through the hospital and stuff. But then to help them out with everything else, like what, like
Yeah, how do you
I don't,
do that, right?
I'm not a teacher. I'm an event planner. Like I can teach them how to plan weddings. I can teach them how to organize something, right? I
And
can
I'm
teach
sure
them
you're
that.
awesome at it. I'm
That's
sure
those
you're
are
awesome at it.
essentials too. They need to know how to be organized.
You know, I
That's one
think
I could teach, and then somebody else could come on and teach that class, and then we could all be from home, and then yeah, we can do that.
we can do it. I mean, I'm gonna attend this event, and I'm briefly. It's called about unschooling and homeschooling your children, right? I remember when I worked for the park district, I would coach kids in the swim team. Everything from ages preschool, toddlers to adults, right? And I remember these kids that I would coach that were on the swim team, they were homeschooled, but the parents were strategic and put their kids in the swim team at the park district because they wanted them to be around and socialize with other children, right? So as I'm deciding on what I'm going to do as a parent for the fall, I'm also thinking of, okay, well, how can I still get my kids to socialize and
Yeah.
be around other children and be mindful of that, right? And I'm using the example of what I've seen when I was dealing with children, when I would be a swim coach. Like, that was a great strategy, right? You still have church, you still have other things that maybe you can still, I don't know, maybe coordinate get-togethers with friends that you know that their kids are also, um, social distancing. I don't know. Well, this is a great topic to talk about next week, right? I wish we could keep talking about it now, but realistically, we don't have any more time. Um, but yeah, that's where I'm at as a parent, right? Like, you're right. I have that luxury of saying, not really. I don't have that luxury. I gotta work. I'm an entrepreneur, right? Like, realistically, like, I work a lot. So, even though it's from home, I work a lot of hours and I have to manage it all. And when I had to online teach, not online teach, but even I wasn't even teaching curriculum to these kids. And it was so frustrating making sure they're on time, they're following their schedule, your assignments. Like, I was like, was there really time for me to work on entrepreneurial things? Like, no, I had to balance it all. Wake up extra early, work after they're done. Like, I had to immerse myself in with them. So it's something that I'm looking into. And I think, Christina, you bring valid points, and Ellie, you bring valid points too. And I think next week this is going to be another great conversation to talk about. But again, thank you so much, Christina, for being the co-host and bringing all these awesome topics. Because, Christina, you've been definitely doing your research, and I love it because you're like, but look, I got this information. I'm like, girl, you get it, girl, get it. So, and Ellie, thank you also for contributing because, we are all moms, we're all entrepreneurs, we all, we have things that we have to tackle. So, do you have any final words, Ellie, before we sign off that you wanted to
No.
share?
Just if you need help with planning an event, give us a call.
No, of course, of course.
If you have a destination wedding, we're here. Guys,
There you
girls,
go.
if you want to propose to your loved ones, we make sure that they say yes before we go through the whole process. So we have a strategy to make sure that they'll say yes. So if you're unsure, but you want to know, like if your girl, your guy, whoever is going to say yes, we make sure that we have a strategy for that. So
Nice.
we do our research and we say, hey, guy, I'm so sorry, but she ain't going to say yes. Like you should not propose.
Wow, that's pretty
Wow.
cool. I didn't know you
So
go that deep. Oh my goodness.
that's embarrassing for anybody, and I wouldn't want to be in
Yeah.
those shoes. I wouldn't
Mhm.
want to be the person saying no, and I wouldn't want to be the person asking the question and getting the no. So for
Yeah.
that, I made sure that I developed something in my package where that happens.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
So, Ellie, at the end of the thread, just put your contact information on the thread so people can reach out to you on the website there, especially for those that are commenting and engaging. And of course, you're part of the WISE community, so I'm sure they'll see you commenting here and there. And then Christina, do you have any final words that you wanted to share?
I most certainly do.
I know you do.
Mine is just be mindful of your words and know that, especially if you are in a position of power, that you make mm, double amount the impact than those of us who, and you represent uh, a lot more people. And not only that, but then also that as Latinos, we need to speak up. We need to have a voice. We need to make sure that we are organizing things as well. And like being aware, one of the first things is be aware of the injustices, right? Because that's the first step. What are the things that are happening to our communities, the people that from the like the las tierras de donde venimos, right? You know, the places where our families came from, the culture, and how do we help? Because and even if it isn't part of your community, injustice is injustice. You know, we are all human, and we should be treated as such. And we need to speak up for those who do not have the power or the voice. We
Yeah.
have to make something happen.
Absolutely. Thank you, Christina, for sharing those wise words. And Mary said the same thing. You can't take back what you say. Once you say it, it's out there. And agreed, their emotional state is so important during this time. She's talking about um, the whole COVID and sending the kids back to school. We have all these other comments that I would love to go through, but for the amount of time, we can't. But I think you're right, Christina. We have to be mindful, even us as
Yeah.
business owners, as women of influence, right? Because we are, reality is we are. And that's why I wanted to do this show, because I wanted to bring awareness to situations, have discussions about topics that are important to our communities. Why are you boycotting something? What's the purpose of boycotting something, right? Like, there's a reason why you boycott. It's not, it's because you're trying to send a message, right? And how do we maneuver around this entire topic? So yeah, definitely, lay everyone that's watching, thank you for joining us. Remember, if you have any questions, just send it to womenselfdevelopment at gmail.com. Just remember, we have you can follow us on social media. We have a website, and then of course join our free Facebook community, the Wise Women Support Group. That's where we always have more encouragement and inspiring conversations all the time. There's always memes and stuff going on in there and challenges. So take advantage of what we have for you. And again, thank you so much, ladies, for being on with me on this Monday morning. And I think I think I think at the end of the day, people still, their minds opened up today. If they were listening, maybe they were thinking one thing, maybe now they're thinking another thing, or maybe they're at least aware of the situation now, right? And that in itself is powerful.
Right.
All right. God bless you, ladies. Thank you,
God bless.
everyone, for watching. Talk to you guys
Bye.
soon. Bye.